Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 6 of Pandemic Playlist. Today we are talking about a beautiful and powerful piece of spoken word music by Gil Scott-Heron called The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. And this song opens, at least in the album that I have, opens the album Storm Music, the best of Gil Scott-Heron, which is an album of mostly jazz music, but it's opened by this spoken word piece about that the revolution will not be televised. And it's a bit of an older piece. It contains a lot of popular culture references that I don't recognize because it's very old. But if you're inclined to go digging through, it is a absolute treasure trove of older pop culture references and older Black history references as well. And also, it is a treasure trove of amazing lines like, "The revolution will not go better with Coke," which is, I just really like that line, and "The revolution will not be back after these messages." And ultimately, as you can imagine, it is a piece about that you can't stay home and watch the revolution on television, or in a broader sense affect change by passively sitting back and thinking that your consumption of revolutionary political or cultural material is the same as participation in a movement that is aimed at bringing justice and equality to a group of people who previously did not have it, or justice and equality to everybody, because honestly, our current system is oppressive towards a lot of different groups of people. But anyway, yeah, so I wanted to talk about The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, and I wanted to talk specifically about what is going on in the United States today and what you can do to not sit at home during the revolution, how you can show up because the revolution will be and is live. So, as I'm sure a lot of you have seen and are aware of, people are losing their jobs and their income and their health care and their ability to support themselves and their family because of this pandemic. And this is creating a economic crisis, which some ill-informed or simply evil people want to solve by saying, well, everybody should just get back to work and the consequences be damned. But if we can all agree that that's not the right solution, we still need to figure out how we're going to support people who are falling on difficult economic times because of what's currently going on with the coronavirus epidemic. And so something that's been happening in St. Louis and that I've been involved in is a broad umbrella of COVID mutual aid groups that have sprung up, including Solidarity Economy, which actually existed before coronavirus and is trying to get direct financial resources towards people who are struggling, as well as something I've been directly involved with, which is St. Louis Quarantine Support, which is getting food and groceries to people who can't go out because of the coronavirus or who are showing symptoms or who have financial need and can't afford to go out and get groceries themselves. All of that to say, if you're in St. Louis, definitely get involved with one of those groups, and the information will be below in the description, as well as a link to St. Louis COVID Mutual Aid will be in a card up here. I think it appears over on this side. If you're not in St. Louis, I encourage you to go online and look on Facebook or look on some other social media site to find out if your area is doing a similar mutual aid effort and see how you can get involved while also maintaining social distancing. And if your area doesn't have one, think about if you're in a position to start one. I mean, if you've lived somewhere, you probably have a lot of friends from the area. You can probably connect a lot of people online and just even start a group where you're like, hey, in this group, people can ask for things that they need because of this pandemic. And if someone else has the resources to provide that, you know, you can provide that. And overall, I just encourage you to think about what it is during this time and in general, because this is something that I think we need to continue beyond whenever this pandemic resolves, is to think about what it is that you have to contribute to the strength and connectedness of your community. And it doesn't need to be monetary. I think a lot of the time we focus on financial contributions to a cause or to a community or to people who are struggling. I think that really, like, obviously money is important for being able to get things, but it really devalues a lot of the other ways people can contribute even if they don't have financial means. So think about, like, you know, do you sew? Can you, like, make clothing for people who maybe need to clothe their kids but can't go out to the store right now and buy their kids clothes that fit? Or do you have a garden? Do you have, like, a yard and you have a garden and you're growing food, and so you can help supply people with food that's, like, locally sourced and doesn't have to come from a big grocery store like Whole Foods? Do you cook really well and you can dedicate time to making meals for your community who might be struggling during this time? Just, like, I encourage you to think of ways that you can reach out and strengthen your community by offering something to both build up the community as far as people needing assistance, but also build up relationships, because I feel like a lot of the time we're very isolated, and that can be by design of how our entire system works. So reaching out beyond those bounds of your own immediate family and circle of friends can be really powerful as far as creating a strong community that's ready to support all of its members, whether it's during a pandemic or in general during any other time in the year. And to quickly point out another reason why this is important is that currently a lot of workers are on strike because their companies like Amazon or Whole Foods or other companies are making them work for the same minimum wage that they have been getting, or a pittance more, without adequate PPE, without adequate protection, and just expecting them to go to work and continue doing work that is really necessary. It's like a lot of these people work at grocery stores. And so, like, I encourage you to use some of these skills to think about how you can support people in your community who work at a place where they're on strike, and think about how you can support them, because striking is really scary and can have a lot of consequences. And the more the community is reaching out to say, like, if, you know, you get fired and you lose your income, we can help. If you don't have access to food, we can help. If you don't have this or that, like, the more the community can say, we can help you out, the more people will be empowered to speak up to these companies that have like unethical pay and unethical working conditions and unsafe working conditions, and say that it's not right. So I encourage you to get involved with local mutual aid groups, reach out and see what you can do for your community, even if there's not an official mutual aid group, and find out about people in like groups who are on strike in your area, and find out how you can support them even if you don't work for the company that the workers are on strike against. Yeah, and to see today's song, which is The Revolution Will Not Be Televised by Gil Scott-Heron, you can go to this YouTube link, which I will put in this card here, or the Spotify link, which will be up here. My camera is reversed, so this is really weird. Have a good day.